Hi, I'm Mike Michalowicz, and welcome to my office. We're going to talk about AuthorUpLive. I'm joined with AJ Harper. AJ is my co-writer. She is extraordinary. Actually, every single book I've written is with AJ. And Amber Vilhauer. Amber is my book launch manager, and the biggest launch in process right now is under the direction of Amber. We're here to talk about AuthorUpLive, so listen in. So, this is my office. I know you both know, but maybe some of our guests don't know. And the reason we're doing it here is because this has been kind of the hub for our planning for AuthorUpLive. And so this is not like this studio that we're planning things out at and trying to put on this skin of artificialness. This is like really what the planning's been like, and I wanted to share a little about what the experience is like of being an author. So, JJ, I've told you this before. When I first launched my first book, it was called The Toilet Paper Entrepreneur. I had grandiose plans. In fact, we just connected then, and I said, I'm going to sell 1 million copies. And I remember AJ's eyes like, okay, you're going to sell 1 million copies, author guy, right? I mean, that was basically it.
Yeah.
And I wasn't willing to believe that yet, thank God, because I think it paid off in the long term. Authorship is extremely hard, being a successful author, but if you stick to it and you do the right things, it's definitely achievable, definitely doable. One thing I did, which I don't know if I told you, I bought 25,000 copies of my book, and I thought that'd be enough to last a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I spent $70,000, the last few dollars I had, packed them in my house, my garage was filled, my bedroom, everywhere was filled, and I said,
wow.
Here comes launch day. The first day of my launch, day number 1, literally 0 people bought my book. And the joke I said, this is true, my own mother did not buy my book that day. That's how bad it was. And the only thing that stopped the tears from going all the way down my face was the snorts that were snorting it back up to my nose. It was terrifying. And a fellow author, I don't remember who he or she was, I remember I called to another author and they said, oh, don't worry. This is simply the quiet before more quiet. And that's when I was like, what? Yeah. And it was devastating. The first month of being an author for me was pure panic. The launch was a miserable experience. And I worked hard on preparing for it. Ultimately, during the first month, I think I sold 100 books or maybe 200. But what I started to do was I started to hustle because I had to move those books. And then I decided to devote my career as an author to learning how to launch. Because if you don't know how to launch books, I don't care how good your book is. And AJ, you've collaborated on some freaking phenomenal books.
Yeah.
Right? David Tierman's book. It's actually one of my favorite books of all time. And no one...
World famous.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's called World Famous. No one's read this book. And it is a crying shame. The reality is it wasn't launched properly. I would argue. He didn't have the plan or strategy in place. And I'm not holding his hand.
No, because people don't know what they don't know.
Exactly. And this is true, and David actually he might be coming to our event to host it, to share his experiences.
Yeah.
This is true for 99% of authors. They don't know how to launch a book. If anything, they put their life into writing an amazing book, and they say, I've built it, therefore they'll come, and no one comes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, or they have expectations from their publisher about what their publisher will do.
Right.
Or they buy a package, and they think that's going to be enough.
Right.
Yeah.
I think there's tons of mystery in this business. There's this belief you can write a book in 30 days. You can write a crappy book in 30 days, right? But you can't write a book that
You could draft it.
You could draft it, but is the exception that you'll ever become a successful author doing that? It could happen, but that's the miracle.
It's lightning.
It's lightning.
Yeah.
There's this other belief that you can hire a publicist or someone in the industry that's going to promote you, or the publisher will just do it, and that's not true.
No.
You're on your own. There's another belief that the day you get the book out there, if you launch it well, that it'll continue to sell itself. Not true.
No.
So a launch to me is writing a book that's phenomenal, backing it with marketing that's even more phenomenal, and then having a persistent stick-to-itness to continue this book on and on and on. And if you're so committed to it, like I am, it's not just one book. It's then doing a second book and building momentum in third and fourth. Just to give you all the juxtaposition, and people are watching right now, I just got, literally it was yesterday when we started this brainstorm.
Yeah.
Yesterday a check came in from Penguin for $101,000 for royalties. And I'm not trying to be bro-y. Like I'm not.
It's not
like,
your advance either. It's for a book that's years old. Years old.
It's not advanced. This is an ongoing check, and they come in now 5, 6, 7 times a year. So it's not monthly, but every 2 months. Yeah, checks me in. And I was talking to both of you prior to us going live. This is like, should I even say that? Because it does sound like cheesy. Like, look at me. Well, here's my fake jet behind me. You know, like it's not. I'm not doing it to brag. I'm doing it because I know now it's possible when you're on the other side. And as a result, today I move Profit First this year. I'll move about 200,000 books. Clockwork is probably upwards of. I'm looking up there because that's where the books are.
So trying to remember what his books are.
Probably move about 50,000 this year. Pumpkin Plan is this little engine that could every single month it sells more than the prior month.
I love that book.
And it's what, like 8 years old, 6 years old?
It's 2000. Yeah, 6 years old.
Yeah.
6 years old. Penguin's blown away by it. But quite frankly, what it is, it's the launch. It's a perpetual launch. And so that's why we're putting on this program. And I want to hear from my colleagues here.
Well, so this event, AuthorUpLive, is actually something really near and dear to our hearts. And AJ, my dear friend AJ, is somebody that I've known for nearly 15 years. And isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
We have, she's been writing, I've been helping with the marketing and launches, and it's been a really exciting process, and that sort of launched me into this website and marketing agency, which I've owned for 11 years now, and I really intimately have studied the space and the marketing industry and what really moves a product or a service, and especially a book, and how can we use that launch to really leverage that momentum into like long-term success and monetization, right? And so then fast forward through our relationship, I got the pleasure of meeting and knowing Mike. And what I really love about you, Mike, is how much you care about everybody. And there's no ego, there's no BS. You're just like this funny, cool guy that really cares. And you're responding to all of the emails and you're sending individual videos out. Like, it's amazing, the relationships that you've had. And so basically we decided to run this 2-day event together called AuthorUpLive. But in the process of the 3 of us working together to create a really sophisticated, like innovative, creative marketing and launch plan for your next book, which comes out in the spring of 2020, we're really excited about it. You know, we got the idea together, what if we could use this marketing plan and do good in the world. You know, there are all of these aspiring authors in the world, and frankly, you know, what I know about authors today and speakers and coaches, you know, anybody really in that kind of industry, they are so drained, right? They are drained because they buy into products or programs or agency services or whatever it is, and they're only getting part of the solution, right? And so they're drained because they just keep trying and having hope, and then they get disappointed, and it's just, they just don't know who to trust, right? So that frustration then comes in. And then, you know, I think ultimately they're concerned about the future because they start to think, well, I'm not getting results, and is it because of me? I guess it's my message, and I'm not good enough, or maybe I should just go do something else, and they give up too soon because they don't know what else to do, right? And so the 3 of us are coming together just with this kind of bleeding heart, just thinking, how do we give back to these aspiring authors? Because, as you mentioned earlier, it's the authors that are really going to change the world, right, and the speakers. So by developing this insanely awesome marketing plan for you, we thought, what if we had a 2-day event where we could give it to the audience? Literally, here's a copy of the launch plan that we have been sweating over for weeks, countless hours. I've never heard of an event doing anything like that.
No, and not only that, but why these choices, why these strategies, how to implement them, when to implement them, all that.
And you know, by sharing this, we up-level authorship as a whole. I think a common thing I see is when someone develops something special for themselves, they keep it secret. They don't share it.
I hate that.
But I also get it.
I
get it's like, well, I have my proprietary way, no one else knows it, and if I can keep doing this, I have a leg up. But I believe selfishly there's actually a greater leg up when you share, because that will make us elevate our game. You know, so as everyone else gets this, all authors go up, and that means me, you, and I, the 3 of us. I said me, my point of view. That was kind of weird. You, and me. We will elevate our game and discover new things. I'm a massive proponent for sharing. Upping everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and what I really like about developing this concept is not only are people actually getting a physical copy of the marketing plan, and we're walking them through the timeline and how to do everything, but, you know, because of who we are doing more of like a collaboration where we can take this plan real time, work together in small groups with the three of us. We're having solo time to actually customize that plan.
Right.
So that you walk out of the event after 2 days with your own plan. And really, it doesn't matter if you already have a book out there and you want to relaunch it, because let's be honest, it wasn't very successful, but you still believe in the message, right? Mm-hmm. Or you're an aspiring author and you haven't even started writing. You don't know you don't know where to start to write your book, but you know you want to do it eventually in the next 5 to 10 years, right? So this is going to serve as that kind of a platform. It also doesn't matter, I mean, really, if you are going to launch a group coaching program or a digital course, because there are aspects of our launch plan that will serve even that purpose. But of course, you know, authors stand to gain the most out of this, and we really want to give back to the people, not just want to have a fly-by-night success and slap out a book, but somebody who really is ready to grow their impact, create legacy, do more good in the world. And so by having their own customized launch plan and being powered by knowing how to actually execute on it, can't imagine the impact that we're going to have.
So when I met you, you know, you were in the business, you were on the verge of what I consider a transactional writer, where you were writing for money.
Ghostwriting.
Ghostwriting. You were ghostwriting books, and you definitely had this. You were jaded.
Already? I don't think I was.
Oh, you were, because there was like, you were telling me about these people who were these gurus and stuff that want to write books. And
fortunately, I've never named names.
You've never named names.
You can't slip up.
No, right? I can't slip up. But which actually I had so much respect for you, because you wouldn't share the names. I was like, you're amazing.
But that's how I met Amber, was through some of those same.
Oh, you're in that field too.
So don't poke her for names either.
Okay, but that industry, it wasn't authentic.
No.
And so what was your driving passion to transition from that?
You know, I believe in the power of story and what books can do, and I care about the type of book that a person puts out. Sometimes I cared more than the author cared.
Oh yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And so why we still work together, even though I'm retired from ghostwriting,
I know,
is because we have a collaborative relationship. It's not me sitting in a room writing somebody else's book for them and turning it into them 6 months later. It's a true partnership.
Yeah.
And also because you have, as you taught me, you taught me about immutable laws.
Yeah.
I think we have immutable laws for this event too. Immutable laws, these are the things we stand for.
Yes.
One of yours, can I say this on camera?
Of course. Well, I don't know. No dicks?
No dicks allowed?
Right. No, you can't say that. Don't say that. No dicks
Okay,
allowed.
don't say that.
Yeah, of course you can say no
But
dicks
I
allowed.
developed my own set of immutable laws for my clients, and one of them was to have the goods.
Yeah.
You know, so don't just, you want to...
I love that.
Yeah, you actually have to have the experience and expertise and heart behind what you want to write about, and not just use a book as a tool to make money. So that's one of the reasons that we still are partners 10 years later. So I started with you with Toilet Paper Entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And then all the books since.
Yeah.
So I watched you hustle, and then I watched other clients who wrote amazing books, and some who didn't write amazing books, but who had no knowledge of how to actually launch their book. And I also had big deal guru clients who paid a fortune so that they could manufacture success. And I won't be specific about that, but you can buy your way onto certain lists and so forth. And I just had seen it all. And even people who wrote something they put their heart into, they maybe took them a year or two to get it done, and then they ended up with an entire garage full of books, and it just broke my heart.
Yeah.
So for me, it was, you know, as you know, I was a ghostwriter, but I started dedicating myself to learning about the industry.
Yes.
I took it up. The first thing I ever did was I said, well, I'm in New York. I'm just the biggest book event in the country is Book Expo America, and I'm going to go to that.
Yeah.
And that was years and years and years ago. I just bought my own ticket, and I went and I just soaked it all in and learned. I just kept doing that every year, and then I kept educating myself in a way that I think maybe a lot of other ghostwriters don't do, because they stay focused on that one goal. And so I learned the industry and how the book is part of something. right? And that really helped me to educate my clients. And in the meantime, I was just kept asking everybody to elevate, to care about the reader, to care about the experience they were giving the reader, to care about their launch, to up-level everything. And so for me, the opportunity I've had to work with people who also care about that is so valuable. And we just wanted to be able to bring this to people who maybe aren't working with us one-on-one and they're not working with you one-on-one because you have your own thing, but this is a chance to see behind the curtain and get all the information that you couldn't get otherwise. Yeah. So that, for people who also believe in the power of story and also really want to get their book out there, it's the great equalizer. You were just saying people are paying $20,000 to come have you talk for a day, but you can also go buy your books.
Right.
You can read them.
Right. Oh,
it's all in there.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you've been able to build not just a brand, but I would say a massive community of not just raving fans, but ambassadors of your message.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's possible when you have a book that's awesome and transformational paired with an incredible launch plan. So for me, I don't want to see good books die, and I also don't want to see people write books that could be better, right? Put out books that could have been better if they had considered some things in advance. And a lot of it has to do with considering the launch as you're writing it. Mm-hmm. So that's my passion, is to kind of change the way this industry works a little bit. No disrespect to anybody, not putting down anybody that's trying to get a book out quickly and just has a different set of goals, and that's fine. If you're just trying to get a book done because it's going to be a lead magnet, or you just really need it. You just need the book out there. You've got clients asking you for it, so you want to get done in a hurry. That's cool. That's totally fine. There's a place for all of that. But I think that a lot of authors really do want what you have.
Yes.
And they just don't know how to get it. And it doesn't come from a cookie cutter package. I think that's the thing. Yeah. And, we often don't understand why a strategy needs to be implemented. And I think that's part of the problem. So I think if we arm people with knowledge about why does this strategy work, why does it need to be done so far in advance, what are all the steps, what are all these milestones, it enables people to make decisions based on what's going to work for my readership, what's going to work for my pocketbook, what's going to work for my timeline, and to think really long range, because as you know, publishing is a long game. It's not about your launch runway, which we'll teach you about at the event. It's about many years. I always say to people when they say, well, what book should I write? I say, well, who do you want to hang out with for the next few years? Right?
True, yeah.
Love that.
Right?
Love
that. What are you going to be willing to talk about for the next few years? But this event allows us to show you how to actually think like that, how to think strategically for the next few years, to be able to get your own version of what Mike has and other influencers you look up to have.
Yeah, because we really want people to own it themselves, right? And so this isn't us just talking down to you for 2 days at a boring, stuffy meeting
that's what
room.
I'm so excited about.
Round tables. It's collaborative,
it's
right?
workshop.
We're doing it together. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's, yes, we're going to teach you stuff, but it's collaborative. So we'll share some of the strategies and why they work and so forth, but come to work, because it's not a situation where you're going to come and sit there and listen to us talk and take notes and then think about doing those things and come home and say, wow, I was blown away, but I then not really implement it. Yeah. At the event, we're going to do your launch plan, and it doesn't.
A workbook.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And we have a workbook that we're only making for this event.
Yeah.
This one.
That from page 1 and lines up with the event, so that as you go through the event, you build your plan. So at the end, it's like, oh my goodness, there's my plan. And that's even if you don't have a book yet. You could do it even if you don't have a book or even know exactly what you're going to write about. It's definitely easier if you have a sense of who you're writing for and the general message.
Which we'll talk about. We'll walk them through.
Yeah, but we're still going to talk about it. You don't have to come with that. But I think most people know this is kind of what I want to do.
Yeah.
Can you give a hint of some collaborative
Well, one of the
activities?
things I'm excited about is influencers. That's rough. People are...
Oh, how do I get connected? Where do I
It's
sign?
anxiety producing.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, how do I talk to people? Who do I talk to? Who's going to make the most impact? And so we explain all of that, but then the beauty of this connection is that in this smaller group of people, max 100 people, we're going to give you an opportunity. Everybody's going to be networking together, but in an organized exercise where you identify the people and organizations that you want to connect with, and then everybody brainstorms together to find connections so that you can. So it's able to leverage everybody's connections at the event for each other in a group setting.
So there you have it. You learned all about AuthorUpLive. And I know what's going on in your head right now. You're like, I have to go. Final details. June 3rd, June 4th are dates. We're going to Rock Lidditz. This is in Pennsylvania. This is where Elton John, Lady Gaga do their performances or pre-performance planning. And that's where we're going to do your book launch. So take action now, sign up, and we will see you there.